America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call the 3 p.m. session of the May 25th, 2021 meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors to order. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to remind you that if you want to address the board, you must sign up 7 days in advance of a meeting to be put on the agenda. The county administrator is the contact person. However, the public may address the board under the agenda item, matters presented by the public, which will be later in the meeting this evening. Again, welcome, everyone. So that I don't forget like I did last month, Dr. Martin, we're going to take up items of consent.
Absolutely.
Somehow or another, I glazed over that. But our first item of consideration is agenda item 5, items of consent. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the items of consent be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0, Jennifer. Agenda item number 6, a consideration of a proclamation honoring the life of Elizabeth Liz Stone. Ms. Buchanan, I believe you have a proclamation on behalf of the board for its consideration.
I do, Mr. Chairman. This is a proclamation of the Henry County Board of Supervisors in memory of Elizabeth Stone. Whereas communities thrive when their public servants are dedicated to their tasks and perform them to the best of their ability. And whereas being a public servant requires a special resolve, one that is anchored by a desire to provide the best service possible under all circumstances and to treat each citizen fairly. And whereas Elizabeth Bateman, Liz Stone, personified what it means to be a public servant, having worked for her community for 45 years as Henry County's General Registrar. And whereas Ms. Stone filled this role until her death on November the 11th, 2020, including closing the polls on her last election day on Tuesday, November 2nd, as was her sworn duty. And whereas Ms. Stone was the most senior general registrar in the Commonwealth of Virginia and never failed to take her job seriously, while also being quick with a joke and a well-placed jab when appropriate. And whereas Liz Stone was devoted to her responsibilities to maintain free and fair elections, and she never failed to relay those priorities to candidates and the voting public. And whereas Mrs. Stone was dedicated to her family and her hobbies, including playing cards, attending ball games, and going shopping, and she didn't like to miss an appointment to get her hair done. Now therefore be it proclaimed on this 25th day of May 2021 that the Henry County Board of Supervisors proudly recognizes the impact made by Elizabeth Bateman Liz Stone on the citizens of Henry County and the Commonwealth of Virginia for the past 45 years. Furthermore, the board encourages everyone to emulate Mrs. Stone's lifetime dedication to her community and the citizens whom she served. This is signed Jim Adams, Chairman, the Henry County Board of Supervisors. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve this proclamation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Is 6-0, Jennifer. Before we ask members of the family, and we also have members of the Registrar's Office and Electoral Board members, I'm going to ask Mr. Hall if he has any additional comments.
I had the privilege of working with Liz for numerous years, and there was never a dull conversation with Liz, never a dull day, and I never failed to not be impressed by how she did her job. She was absolutely dedicated to doing it the right way, to treating everyone fairly. I had kind of an advantage. I grew up playing ball with EC, so I saw Liz on a lot of ball fields covered in dust and cheering on her family members. And she cheered for us too, even when we were on the same teams, because that's who she was. An interesting, wonderful woman. And if we can replicate that spirit of public service and that spirit of not necessarily taking ourselves so seriously all the time, that's a pretty good combination. So it was an honor to work with her.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. I'm going to ask all the board members who have had at some point in time an opportunity to be in the registrar's office by default, if you'll join me down front for the presentation of this. And family members, please join us up front. Elect all board members and registrar's office, if you'd like to join us or be in the circle, that's fine.
Let's get you and AC, Matt, you right in front of them. And then let the gentleman line up beside that, How about that?
We need a woman on this other side. Come on.
An awesome job.
Yeah, he's talking about some little jabs and stuff. I know she absolutely loved this place. She'd rather be here than go on vacation, which she very rarely ever took vacations. But one thing it would irritate her a little bit, she would, I remember her saying one time, she said, "It just irritates me to death." And I said, "What's that?" She said, "People all the time ask me when I'm gonna retire." I said, "Yeah." And I said, "What are you saying anyway?" She said, "I tell them I'll retire when I get old enough." She was 80 or 81 at that time. So, but anyway, I just wanted to thank everyone on behalf of the family. This is really a nice honor. And anyway, I know she would really be proud because she did. She put everything she had into this job. And on behalf of the family again, we really appreciate it and thank y'all.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, let me add, EC and the family have asked that we display both the document from the state senate in Liz's honor, as well as ours, if we would display those in our building. And we will attach those to the wall outside of the registrar's office. So even though she's not with us, she will still have an impact.
We would be remiss if we didn't say also that the level of service that she displayed amongst everyone is carrying down through the generations. And thank you all both for your service, EC and thank you.
Bye-bye.
We'll take up agenda item number 7, a report on delinquent tax collection efforts. We have with us County Treasurer Scott Grindstaff. Welcome.
I'll gladly say I will not be here 45 years. This is our report as of April 30th. Personal property collection. We have collected 92.93% of the 2020 personal property tax. For the month, we collected $246,808. Real estate as of April 30th, we collected 94.61% of the 2020 real estate taxes. During the month, we collected $202,161. So far, since January 1st of 2021, TACS has collected $530,242. We have our first collection from the debt set-off. So far this year, we've collected $58,243 on state income taxes. And so far in the month of May, we have 80 DMV stops collected.
So anyone have any questions of Mr. Bridenstine?
Did you get the email from Lee about the house?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
I think, yeah, I responded to Lee. He didn't forward it to you. Okay.
All right, thank you. Agenda item number 8 will have an update from the Pennsylvania County Community Action Board. Mr. Hall.
Evelina Ross, Executive Director of Pennsylvania County Community Action, PPCA, has requested time on the agenda to update the board on activities with her organization. PCCA is the designated community action agency providing comprehensive services to low-income families in Pennsylvania County, Danville, Henry County, and Martinsville. The Board of Supervisors appoints one resident to serve on that board, and that is Alicia Hill of Ridgeway. She's currently serving in that role.
Okay. Ms. Ross?
Good evening.
Big,
And I have the community needs assessment. Thank you. Again, good evening. Thank you all so much for meeting with me and allowing me to come and share with you the good news that Pennsylvania County Community Action Agency has been doing for 56 years and is still doing. As he said, we are the community action agency designated to serve the residents of Henry County and the other areas that he said. So again, thank you so much for allowing me. Each year, every 3 years, the Pennsylvania County Community Action is mandated to do a community needs assessment. That simply means that we will go and ask, visit, request information from the citizens, from businesses, from our partners, from Danville, Pennsylvania County, Martinsville, Henry County, about the services that are needed, the services that we do, and what's the picture for improving these services. So we did that in just last year, and each of you have a copy of that community needs assessment with you. I took out the information from Danville, from Pennsylvania County, from Martinsville, because I want to focus strictly on Henry County. But if you would want to see the whole document, I will gladly give you my email and we can get that. The community needs assessment, I'm sure you all know what that is, so I don't need to go into that. So I'll just briefly talk to you about what we found as a result of that. As you can see, that's the first picture of our main office on the front. And this is for 2019-20. Pages 1 through 4 is our table of content. And number, our impact, our methodology, and the remainder of the information reflects on the findings that we found for Henry County. Again, these came from businesses, regular citizen partners. So we have what we think is a pretty good analysis of what's going on in Pennsylvania County. With the budget cuts for program year 2019 and 20, along with our COVID-19 impact, our lives have all changed. I think we would all agree. It seemed to be getting back to normal. But PCCA still managed to provide services to 7,751 unduplicated clients through these services. PCCA, Pennsylvania County Community Action, operates 9 major programs along with 8 minor programs assisting with rental assistance, utility payments, a senior program that provides meals. We assist with testing them for blood pressure. Health, we provide an opportunity to do health and socialization. For Henry County, we provided services to 187 unduplicated clients in one fiscal year. We paid $6,097 to residents of Henry County for rental and for utility assistance. We have a Head Start program that operates in Henry County. It's at Moore Hill, which there's 12 students, Stanley Town 20. Because of COVID, we're doing virtual. We have reports that are all virtual, and I'm proud to say we got a report from the Pennsylvania County schools, and they did a survey of testing our kids, Head Start kids with the county schools, and I was impressed that our kids rated much higher because our students do one-on-one through the virtual, and they work with the parents. So we are happy, we are really excited about that. For the senior program, we have a congregate site at Moore Hill and an EMI in Bassett. We provide 24 when we were operating, but that's closed because of COVID too. We're getting ready to reopen, we think. But at EMI, we did 24 meals once a month, and at Moore Hill, we did 25. Because of the COVID, we now have drivers that are taking hot meals to each of those clients, plus the hot meals that we serve to regular clients. And last year alone, we served over 2,000 meals, hot meals, these are unduplicated, to clients in the Henry County area. So those are the kinds of programs we do. We do taxes, but I know that Martinsville has their own tax preparation, but out of Danville, we do taxes. We have the Head Start program, we have a weatherization program, we have a HOPA program that's program with people with AIDS, and we have the senior program, and we have a project discovery. With the area, you'll see that on page number, I think it's toward the very end, and this shows you how we did our data, and then the population, the statistics for Henry County, and then there's a whole information about the Henry County area. And then on the last page, we found that these are the 5 top needs in Henry County, according to the survey. Healthcare, housing, transportation, senior program, and employment. As you know, as with where I live down in Dry Fork, Pennsylvania County, it's a rural area. Transportation is a problem. We do have some vans, we do have a fleet, but transportation, again, is a problem. So we are about looking at how we can work with you all, with any entity here, to rectify the problem with the transportation. Another area that came up that needed attention was, while home ownership is relatively high, people are having difficulty maintaining their homes or doing home improvement. They don't have enough money. So we are looking at how we can partner with other agencies too, and that's not unique to here. It's on all the other areas. Employment is another area that came about. We know that with the governor's announcement and new jobs coming every day, we hope that that's an improvement. But Pennsylvania County is in a position now, is in a place that we want to work closely with whoever you all designate to work with us. As he said, we do have a young lady that's on our board that you all appointed, Ms. Alicia Hill. She's serving as chairperson of our fundraising committee because most of our grants, most of our funding are through grants. We get grants through the federal, state, local, and we have senior citizens every once in a while, once a week, they will put in 10 pennies, or they will put in what it is they have, because we're providing services to them and we transport them. Pennsylvania County Community Action, while our primary office is located in Chatham, Virginia, we are the community action agency serving you all. One of the goals that my board has directed me to do, and I'm looking forward to, is establish a better relationship. When I talked to the young lady, I said, I think this might be a first that we have been here, but it certainly, I hope, will not be the last. Because in order to we have to face the fact that there are people in need of services. While some are doing really good, there is a population that is suffering. And if we all work together, if we help the poor, then we get better off, that'll help. So that's what Pennsylvania County Community Action does. What we are looking to do in the future is, of course, increase our ways to increase poverty, decrease poverty. That's a long task. We work with Southern Area Agency. We're working with all kinds of entities. I just recently met with the City Council of Danville. So we're looking, and we will be looking to partner more with you. And each year we will put in we have not in the past, I understand, But starting in the next year, we're going to be putting in a request that you put us on your funding. I heard you discuss funding. With whatever you can help, because again, we get audited every year. Every program gets year. And when they look at the numbers that we provide, service that we provide in Danville, Martinsville, they said, what funds are they donating toward your agency? Because again, so that's where we are. The other thing that's really near and dear to my heart is the homelessness issue, not just for Henry County, but for Pittsylvania County, Danville, Martinsville. From November of last year until yesterday, I have personally received 15 calls from folk that have either been put out, burned out, or have no place to go. Yesterday, we got a call from a family that had 5 children, all under the age of 18, that the house was condemned by the county. Put them out right then. They might have had some previous notice, but what we got. So we were scrambling, trying to find a place for them to stay. It is a sad commentary that we couldn't find any place. So what we resorted to do, which is just a short-range fix, is put them up at a hotel with a plan that they can go out and find some other. But again, my funding sources will not allow us to fund anybody in a hotel unless there is a plan to move out and get a job. So the best I could do was 1 week. 1 week in this area is difficult. So that is one of the things that I'm working with all 4 of the, hopefully now, all 4 of the localities to say, let's come together and find a place that we can build with at least 20 rooms that we could have, so when people do get put out, burned out, whatever the reasons, that we will have a place. It's not going to be free in my imagination, in my vision. We're going to do a case management where they will be trained on how to get a job, how to maintain a job. We will give them child care. We have the emergency food program. So we're going to do the case study. So once we take you in, we will do what they call an IEP, and we will work with that family to make sure they are ready to go back into the community to become productive citizens. The last program that I will mention is our ex-offender program. Even with COVID, we were able to place 39 ex-offenders and jobs in Danville and Pittsylvania County. I'm ecstatic about that. That's operated out of Salem, and each month they send us a plaque. They finally said, you're gonna get so many plaques, you're not gonna know where to put them. But yes, we will, because we're putting folk back to life. What we consider a success is a 9-month on the job. That's the WIOA, Workforce Initiative. That's their requirement. So that's what we call a success. So I'm here. Thank you all so much for having me. I hope that we will have a closer relationship. If there are any questions for me, my phone number, I think it's there. If not, I have cards. I'll gladly share it with everybody. The office number is 434. I do have some cards that I'll leave with you. 434-432-8250. 434-432-8250. And I can be emailed at eross@pccainc.org. Any questions for me? And thank you all so very much. And I look forward to meeting each of you personally, and let's just work together to improve our communities.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. Agenda item number 9, we'll have an update from the Martinsville Henry County Economic Development Corporation. We have with us today Mark Heath. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. First, we'll review briefly the report for May of 21. As you'll see in our Business Development Division, there are 3 workshops being planned: grants review, employment and customers, and grant writing workshops. The last 2 dates yet to be established for those. Also, you'll see that our briefcase program that was released last month, those interest forms are out on our application. That's an effort to bring companies that are existing companies, entrepreneurial type companies, hopefully stage 2 companies into our community from outside, and there's grant money, considerable help financially for those companies. That's run by Valerie Harper on our staff, and it's getting quite a bit of interest, as you might expect. The unemployment rate is attached, unemployment chart for the last month, and you'll see we're tracking in the right direction, going down. Henry County is back at 6%, and we think that as people come back into the workforce, as some of these programs run their course, that we'll see that number dropping even quite a bit. There are a number of jobs that are needing to be filled in our community, so there's no lack of job or employment opportunities, and more are coming. Spencer handled 4 third-party requests for information. We had 40 requests or answers, rather, responses to our 2021 Wage and Benefit Survey, which is being sent out this week, before the end of the week, to those that participated. That, again, is the best and freshest information on wage, labor, and benefits that is available in our community, and it's in real time. Spencer also has the Radical signs. We helped them last month. Radical announced that they were putting a sales office at the Met 2 facility. Those signs are up as they go through their process and obtain their visa applications. There'll be 4 people here when that's completed. We had Teal Jones has had people in our community. They're the folks that have bought the former Pine Products facility. They've been here a couple times. They're expanding as we speak, adding their kiln, and are well into the $30 million that they committed to invest here, both CapEx, capital investment, and jobs. We've already begun the preliminary research on where the next Commonwealth Crossing will be. One of the good problems you have when things go well is that you need to be looking in the future, and we still have the Bryant property. We have property at Patriot Center. We have some sites left at Commonwealth Crossing, but if you recall, Commonwealth Crossing that site search began in 2007, so those of us that are here now need to be thinking about where we're going to be locating industry 10, 15, and 20 years from now. I plan to still be here, but who knows, some of the other folks may not be. We'll see. We also have worked with a hospitality study that was led by Jeff Stadler, so that perspectives can go out to prospective hoteliers. In tourism, we had 67 guests in our visitor center. 31 of those came during Garden Tour week of April 21st. We're working with Parker Productions. We've been doing a lot of filming in the last week. Even yesterday, they did filming on testimonials that we're using to promote our community, both in tourism and on our traditional development side. 5,424 people were on the Dick and Willie at the station where we count. 13 listings on virginia.org were updated. There's a new blog out for the 21 summer camps in Martinsville. And during National Tourism Week, which was the week of May 2nd to 9th, you can see all the different things that our staff was involved in. We're supporting Henry County Recreation very heavily, as much as we can, on Smith River Fest update, and you can see all the different things that are going on there as we prepare for that August event. One of the things that was filmed yesterday is a promotion to get on the water. Obviously, that's with the Smith River and Philpott and others. That will be out in the not too distant future. And we assisted the Virginia Museum of Natural History by getting people in a film project that they had back on May 11th that will be released soon, we think. In talent development, Sarah's been very involved, Sarah Hodges, with our weekly art power grants and also the 5 Points management meetings. We've assisted with the PACC presidential transition when all the candidates were coming in. Sarah worked with getting the spouses around town and helping them meet with community leaders, as did a lot of other folks. Research and implement. There's a new job board that's going to be going up on our Martinsville Made website to make it easier for industry to post job openings. And we did a photo shoot just yesterday at Performance Livestock, which, if anybody's not been down the former Red Level facility, it's amazing what's going on there. The number of rail cars that they're bringing in as they bring feed in, and they've got a new contract with Purina. That it's really great to see a site that had been in operation for 100 years that went away to come back to life. So if you get a chance, just drive down and look around. Well, I guess we can wait till the end about questions. I want to take a minute. You see this on your monitor. Dale's teed this up for us, but a group of us went in the last month up to Bowling Green and looked at the Crown facility that's under construction. And we thought we took Appalachian Power and the gas and people that are actually involved with, from a technical standpoint of our facility here. This facility that I'm going to show you that we saw is what is being built in Henry County, and it's pretty impressive. So we're going to show this to our board. So this is the outside, obviously, and you'll see that is a picture of what is going to be built. As we'll have the same types of things here. This is the rear of the facility. We'll take some pictures and kind of walk you around. This is going to be a lot of contractors are going to be very happy. The concrete contractor that gets this project is going to be really happy. There's a tremendous amount of concrete in this project. That's the rear where the loading docks are and that sort of thing, obviously. This is a view from the front. We're showing this is what our building is going to look like. It's going to be a replica of this facility. Very nice split-face block offices on the front and architectural metal on the other parts you can kind of see. Interestingly, if you notice in the parking areas, the stone, we have some rock on our site. There was a lot of rock on this site. They waste nothing. The rock is being blasted. We had a meeting out on site today, and it's being blasted, it's being crushed, it's actually being used in the beds under the asphalt. So there is really, everything that's coming out of the site is going to be put to use. It's very much like we had here. They, again, the roadways all are curb and gutter. It's a very attractive, very handsome site. Here we are in a receiving area on the inside. The guy in the dark helmet on the left is Brian Rogers. He's the chief engineer on this project. He's the guy that we worked with. He'll actually be in town again next week. You see some of the mechanical side of this and the parts and pieces that go into this are pretty extensive. This is part of they're very environmentally oriented. This is part of a reclaim area, recycling area. On the back, that's the extent of my knowledge of that. We'll find somebody else that's a little bit better at explaining. Mr. Hall can probably give you the engineering standpoint. This is a close-up of Brian Rogers, really great guy. He's actually maybe one of the newest and best and biggest NASCAR fans I've ever been around. He came and was a guest at the recent race, and his driver, Truex, won. So it could not have been better for us. So he was very excited about that. This gives you some view of inside. This is a 350,000 square foot building, which is fairly significant in size. For those that have seen the press glass facility, the first phase there is 280,000. And just kind of notice as we go through, there's a lot of parts and pieces to this. Again, this is recycled aluminum that the way they waste nothing. It goes back into their stream. This is a roll of aluminum that starts the cans. Each of those rolls weigh 20,000 pounds, so it's pretty substantial. Kind of looking at it there. This is interesting on the left. I guess maybe you're right. Is how a can starts, and then it's that base piece is extruded into the can. That Sarah's actually holding it on the other side. To be honest with you, I did not know the process, and it's really fascinating how that what comes out of the mold ends up being a can. Brian's explaining. Sarah was the most inquisitive person in our group. She asked all the questions that the rest of us were embarrassed to ask, so it was good to have her with us. But it's really kind of fascinating. You can see that the machine is actually, it's very scientifically named a can maker. And so there you go. That's what it looks like. But it's seriously, there'll be 2 lines in this facility of ours just like this. There's 10 machines down each line. 9 work 24/7, and 1 is always in maintenance. It's really it's a very, they really have their process down. Cans come off. There will be 5,600 cans a minute. I have to go to my math guy here. 5,600 cans a minute. If you can imagine that, 5,600 cans a minute, 24/7, 360 days a year. That's going to be quite a few. This is a metal piece that actually goes into the machine that prints on the cans. It's a very fascinating thing. This is that machine. It's fairly sophisticated, and Brian explained to us how some of these columns are rotating in one direction and some in the other as it applies the labels on another piece of equipment. I think it's safe to say that we don't have anything quite like this now in our community, so it's going to be a new technology, obviously. Cans running down the line. Brian's pointing out again some of the mechanical stuff. You'll notice that the inside how bright it is. Steel comes when raw steel is either red or gray. Worldwide, it's all you get. They paint every piece of steel. It's bright. It's kind of food grade, very clean inside for obvious reasons, but it really brightens it up, and it's going to be quite a handsome environment. Here we are up on the catwalk. Brian's explaining things, kind of a look down the line. That may be the washer that they go through after the cans are made and they're sterilized. This is in the warehouse section. These are the way they ship cans, and what was really fascinating to us, these cans there's only maybe 2 or 3 bands around each of these pallets. So the question today is that you can win the lottery if you can get this. How many cans are in each one of those pallets? They're signed, they're offset the way, Ryan don't know, he probably can figure this out, but there are 6,168 to be exact on each of those empty cans. And it's amazing to us how they stack them and they don't bend. The band, the way they band it, they're very, very minimal, but they don't fall off. It took a while to figure that out. So I thought now that's what we're going to have. We'll give you a little bit of an update of where we are on our site here at Commonwealth Crossing. These are pictures that were taken this week. There's a lot of work going on. Hames Brothers and Steve Martin got work together on the grading contract. You'll see the gray areas. That's where a lot of rock is being. They drill and shoot the rock, but all of that is being saved, and it's being the parts that they can lay down in the areas that are going to be paved. They'll do that now. Some of the larger rock they're actually setting up on site to crush that, so they'll use that in their pavement, but nothing is going to waste, so that's pretty interesting. Another view, a lot of, this actually gives you a little bit of, so this is the video, yeah, this was shot by Beth Marshall on our staff. She's an up-and-coming drone pilot, so she was testing this out, but really it's kind of interesting. A lot of stuff going on. It's a 55-acre site. The building will be kind of looking at the building from this angle, looking back where press glass is. And just notice in the background, one of the things that attracted me to the site is the beauty of it. In the background, you see the mountains. There's a lot of planting, a lot of landscaping. It'll be a very attractive plant as you drive up to it. So we're excited about the finished product there. So that gives you a little bit of idea. Oh, that's maybe one other thing. No, we didn't put the pipe in, did we? There's also one thing, another picture that I meant to send that I didn't get over. We're running the gas line there. 17,000 feet of gas pipe was delivered this week. It's on site, ready to go for construction. So there's a lot of activity on at the park. Press glass continues to really do well. They've got 2 shifts going now. They're still using CCAT for training. It's pretty exciting to see what's happening there. We have a lot of prospect activity on the remaining sites there, both Lot 1 and Lot 3, which are potential rail sites. So the future is very bright, and we take them one at a time. But it's been a good time. So if you do have a chance to ride out, you can go in the park. Be careful. There's a lot of traffic, but you can go up and drive around and actually take a look at what's going on if you like. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions this time? Thank you, Mark. That takes us to agenda item number 10. We'll have an update on the broadband planning study. Mr. Hall.
Henry County has hired ECC Technologies to assist with developing a broadband plan for our community. Christian Youngblood, Director of Information Services, is here today to update the board on the progress of the planning study.
Good afternoon. How's everybody? It's been so long since you've seen me that you get to see me put reading glasses on. It's been tough. So the broadband assessment study started, I guess, about 5 or 6 months ago. We were approached by Harvest Foundation and asked what we might be able to do to make ourselves more eligible for future federal and state funding sources. So they helped us with a consultant, and with that consultant, we applied for a CDBG grant, which we were successful in obtaining. And that CDBG grant gave us $50,000, and the Harvest Foundation matched it with another $10,000 to hire a professional consultant to conduct this needs and assessment study. We have a great, strong committee that we put together to get this process done. We have representatives from New College, from PHCC, we have area industry, local governments. And the other thing about this is we did make it a regional project, so it's actually a combination of Martinsville, Henry County. Past studies have shown to be much more productive when there's cooperation with joint localities. So we've tried to put all of our pieces together to make this as successful as possible. Our request for proposal went out. We obtained 8 responses, narrowed it down to 3 really exceptional vendors with great reputations, and we selected ECC Technologies out of Raleigh. So what is the point of this study? Ultimately, it kind of answers 4 questions, all broadband related. 1, what do we need? 2, what do we have? 3, where is it? And 4, how can we make it better? COVID has really emphasized the fact that we need this technology in our area. We need it for our telehealth, we need it for our remote learning, we need it from work from home initiatives. We need it for you guys to be able to use Zoom meetings and make it where we can see everybody's bright, shiny faces when we're not able to get together in the same room. So that's really what this is about. The needs assessment study is going to help us come up with options, and that's what we're really about, is to help us either incentivize existing providers to serve our unserved and underserved areas, or if we're not able to get the existing vendors to come step up to the plate, they're going to help us create our own plans to form an authority or some other mechanism so that we're able to serve our own customers. Sometimes localities have had to kind of dangle that as a threat to incumbent providers to get them to go ahead and extend their internet cables to existing neighborhoods. So we'd like to have our options. Right now we are in the very early stages of this. Our vendor is literally driving 500 miles throughout the city and the county looking for existing fiber optic cable, looking at the poles, looking at the ground, looking for lines so that they can identify where the existing fiber's at, all of the potential vertical assets such as radio towers, water towers, tall buildings that are municipally owned or might be able to be leased for fixed wireless solutions, anything that we have. Again, we're looking for options. So a couple things that will be coming up. The first thing is that we're going to be creating a community survey to learn about the broadband at specific addresses. We're going to be sending this out. We're going to be really trying to promote this throughout the entire area, and we want our residents and our businesses to fill it out based on their address, either their business address or their home address. And we want you to tell us, what broadband do you have? What options do you have? What speed? Who's the provider? What's the cost? And most importantly, there'll be a comment section where you can tell us what you really feel, what you really want. Really give us that in-depth insight to what we need so that we can make a very clear picture for future opportunities, for future grant sources to extend the broadband. As it stands right now, most everything is based on FCC maps, the Federal Communication Commission. And they have it such that the federal law is that if a single house is served within a census block, then they get to go ahead and paint the whole census block off. So if there's a mobile home park and only one home has access to it and the other 49 do not, it's scratched off and it looks like it's served. So we really want a very refined picture of what Henry County has and again, what we don't have, so that we can have all of our options available and we can make those future requests for additional funding to extend our capability. This project is 100% about improving the quality of life for our residents, and our businesses. There's not a lot in it for us. This is to improve their quality of life and their future business. E-business opportunities, again, telehealth, work from home, all the things that they can do with extended broadband. There are literally billions of dollars that have been promised coming up in the next 2 to 3 years, state and federal wise, that are being earmarked for broadband, and we want to be eligible. Without this process, we would not be eligible. They would ask, we would apply for funding, and they're going to ask, where is your assessment? What is it you have? And without this, we really would not even be able to submit an application. So it's extremely important that we have this and that we're in the game. So why am I telling you about this? What do we need from you? We need you all to drum up support. This online survey will be made available here in the coming weeks. It will be available for, again, the public, the citizens, our residents, our businesses, all of our learning institutions, everybody to complete, so that they can paint that picture and fill in every dot of our area, every geographic mile of our county with detailed information as to what broadband's available. You each have your own district. I assume every one of you have pockets of your district that are either underserved or unserved. So it would be great if you could help us get the word out to those residents in those pockets that this is an opportunity for people to speak their mind and give us the facts as to what really does exist. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 11, we'll have a consideration of waiver request to maintain split voting precincts pending redistricting for the General Registrar's Office. Mr. Hall.
The Virginia General Assembly recently passed legislation requiring each voting precinct to be wholly contained within a single congressional district, Senate district, House of Delegates district, and local districts. However, a locality may request a waiver to delay this action pending redistricting. Henry County has the following split precincts in need of a waiver: number 203, Horse Pasture number 2, number 304, Mount Olivet, number 505, Dyer's Store. General Registrar Dawn Stultz-Vaughn is asking the board to approve the request for a waiver for these precincts until such time as redistricting can be completed. Within your working papers, you have a memo from Ms. Vaughn, and you'll be asked to approve that request for a waiver to delay action on this mandate.
Okay, with that, what's the pleasure of the board?
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the waiver. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0, Jennifer. And again, thank you those from the registrar and the electoral board for being here today. Agenda item 12 will take up financial matters, beginning with 12A, which is the only financial matter that we have today. Mr. Hall.
The school board requests that the Board of Supervisors approve 3 appropriations needed for end-of-year instructional purchases, facilities upgrades, and employee bonuses. The school board has approved a bonus in the amount of $1,400 to be paid to all eligible full-time and part-time employees. The total fiscal impact is estimated to be $1,764,544. This bonus will be in addition to the $1,000 that was paid to school employees and school board members in November of this fiscal year. The appropriation requests are as follows. Number 1, transfer of $175,000 from the pupil transportation category to the instruction category. transfer of $140,000 from the administration, attendance, and health category to the facilities category. And number 3, appropriation of $145,032 from the pupil transportation budget to the school nutrition budget. Within your working papers, you have a memo from Ms. Strayer. Ms. Strayer and her staff are here should you have any questions.
Okay, in regard to this item, financial matter, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, can we have some discussion on this before we make a motion? I'll make a motion. Well, I'm not going to make the motion. I have some questions.
Yes. If you have questions, let's go ahead and get those answered.
And I guess the question for me is to Mr. Lyle. I know that in the state code, before a governing body can approve compensation for themselves, it cannot be done within a certain period. There are some restrictions. Are those true of the school board as well?
When you're referring to the salary, there's salary ranges set for elected officials. I don't know about.
Nothing
bonuses.
about bonuses.
I've never researched that, but there is a process by which you set salaries of the elected body can set their own salaries within a range, and the process is described. And there's timing usually around elections, but I don't know about. I've never researched the issue.
So bonuses may or may not be addressed in the code.
I don't know.
So in this action, the school board members will be approving for themselves $2,400 in a bonus. Is that correct?
That's my question too. So you're answering that, gonna answer for me?
So $2,400 is total.
Not for this. We had a bonus in November that was part of federal aid that we got for the coronavirus relief funds. And so that was a total separate bonus for what we're bringing to you today. At that time, it was a $1,000 bonus for employees. The bonus from the federal government, or the money from the federal government for hazard pay, went to those employees who were working in the buildings, providing that support that students and families needed at that time. So that federal funding was due to hazard pay. That made up about 90% of the funding at that time. There was a stipend for the employees, and then about 10% came from local funds for that stipend, and that was about $140,000 at that time. This is something totally separate. This is a bonus that we're giving to employees, full-time and part-time employees who are current employees who are eligible. What we're bringing to you today is actually a transfer request from the transportation budget for fuel savings to go into the school nutrition budget for the cafeteria workers, for those cafeteria workers to have the $1,400 that we propose as a bonus for our employees. Those cafeteria workers worked every day in person during the pandemic. They prepared meals for our students and our families, and they also rode the buses to deliver those meals. That's what we're bringing to you today, is a transfer request of $145 in terms of the bonuses. The other appropriations that we're requesting, the $175,000 from transportation, that also is fuel savings that we had, and we're asking for that to go into instruction to help buy new laptops for elementary teachers for next year. Those laptops are going to be on their 6th year of a 5-year cycle. The comparison I can give to that is, imagine driving a car that's got as many miles as it can have on it, and then putting 100,000 miles on that car in the past year. We also have another appropriation that we're requesting of $140,000 from our administration, health, and attendance category to go into facilities to help purchase new fire alarm systems at Law Park Middle School and George Washington Carver Elementary School for next year.
So Dr. Boone, I just want to be sure I understand. I think you have justified for me, in my mind, those appropriations.
Right.
But my specific question is, if we approve this in November and now coming up, the school board members individually will have received $2,400 in a bonus.
Well,
is that a yes or no?
Well, they will receive a stipend in the fall, and right now they will receive a bonus of $1,400. Yes, sir.
So it's a $2,400
altogether, right?
For the school board.
So just let me ask another question. And I don't want to split hairs. Did the school board have any extra meetings in this past year
Oh,
to
they-
compare with the employees who worked extra hours who have actually earned this bonus? I don't want to be mean about this, but you know, when you get elected to a position, you don't do it for the money. And I just have a problem with $2,400 being given to school board members. That's just me. And I'm going to be quiet now.
Yeah, I am just like Dr. Martin here on the same thing. I had a discussion just today with another board member on the same thing. You know, my question, this is I don't have a problem with bonuses and stuff for people who deserve it. This is kind of a roundabout way to get this going through, which was no discussion on it per se for the county. You know, we didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about it until I read it here. It seemed like it was trying to be hid in it, not hid in it, but covered in a sense. I think we're all perturbed with it a little bit.
Good afternoon, board members, Mr. Chairman. I will say that to answer your question, Dr. Martin, yes, they had numerous extra meetings, extra emails, and extra phone calls. Because as you know, during the pandemic, what happened was schools were open, schools were closed, many students were put in quarantine, many teachers were put in quarantine, and therefore classrooms, grade levels in schools had to close. So therefore parents had tremendous amounts of questions. They were called daily and emailed daily. And when we did the first, as you know, when you set any kind of bonus, there are parameters to be set. So as our team worked on this, it was full-time employees, part-time employees who met the criteria. And our board member, of course, is considered those employees. And many board members, when they received the first bonus, didn't even realize they were going to be receiving the bonus when they voted on it, because we had numerous calls about that. But we additionally said to our board, because in years past, when our entities received bonuses, when we had a lot of carryovers several years ago, we went back and looked, and Dr. Boone has all this research, that our board members did indeed receive that bonus. So we followed suit with what's been done in the past. But again, we did pull all the emails, numerous emails and phone calls that board members were taking from community members and parents, business owners, because they needed their employees at work. They couldn't be at work because they were at home with children. And when were we going to open schools? So I will say they did have additional meetings and conversations with parents.
Yeah, well, I understand that too, but I think our supervisors has had the same thing also. Numbers of phone calls, numbers of.
Any other questions or discussion before we take up this action?
Can we amend the motion? A motion?
I beg your pardon?
Can we, whoever makes this motion,
Admitted to take out the 1,400 for the,
yes.
Well, the 1,400's been paid already.
No,
right?
it hasn't.
no, I don't think it has. The 1,000's been paid.
The 1,000 has been paid.
Okay, 1,000's been paid, but 1,400. Okay, yeah, got it.
But think about this, and I think as Dr. Strayer said, these board members are employees. They're considered employees, and they have worked additional hours too in order to get where they're at now. I mean, it wasn't just the teachers or the cafeteria staff. I think as a whole, it took all of them in order to get the schools,
Right.
keep them operating.
As I understand it, this board does not have the ability to tell the school
Right.
board how to spend its money.
No.
Oh, I know.
It's either yes or no on the proposed transfer, which really what's facing.
Right.
Where it says eligible employees, is there anyone not eligible? Or would that be maybe somebody on medical leave or?
It would be substitute positions
Sub-
and people we hire for coaches and things like that.
Okay.
But I do want to just kind of bring back to the appropriation we're bringing is for funds to go to our school nutrition budget for the bonus. School nutrition budget is based on revenues that they bring in. And as you can imagine, throughout the year, without students in the building for the majority of the year and distributing meals that way, they didn't gain the revenues that they normally get.
Actually, we're here to do transfers, but not line item.
Understand.
All right, any other questions? With that, in regard to this additional appropriation, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the additional appropriation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion at this point? All in favor?
My yes vote is because of all the other employees.
It's 6-0, Jennifer. Agenda item 13, informational items. We will begin with comments from the board, starting with Mr. Zaire.
No, sir.
Dr. Martin.
I'd like to recognize somebody in the audience who has obtained the distinction of being a Doctor of Education, and that's Mr. David Scott. Congratulations.
Great. Anything else? Mr. Bryant.
Just one thing, I just want to let the public know that I am having a town hall meeting. It's going to be June the 24th at 7 p.m. here in the Summerlin Room. So, you know, if we can get the word out for the people in the Collinsville district, that we are having a town hall meeting. And I had guest speakers of Tim Hall, and I think Tim possibly would be out of town, so Dale Wagner would be filling in for Tim Hall.
You won't miss a thing.
Excuse me?
You won't miss a thing.
Won't miss a thing, Tim says. Sheriff Lane Perry, our County Attorney George Lowes, and our Virginia Highway resident Lisa Hughes will also be there.
All right. Ms. Buchanan. Mr. Slaughter.
Yes.
And I have Mr. Hall, do you have some introductions
Yes, sir.
for the board
I have
today?
several items, but we're going to start with the most important one. Adam, Mike, you guys come to the podium. As you guys know, Mike Amos is retiring June 30th after roughly 722 years of service.
You couldn't get 723 out of them?
We advertised to fill that position. We had 5 folks that we interviewed. All 5 were impressive, but the most impressive one was this gentleman right here. His name is Adam Root, and he joins us from the school system where he worked for more than 20 years in their maintenance division. It was a sort of a character flaw that Mike's married to Adam's sister, but we overlooked that in an effort to get the best man for the job. So, Mike, if you want to say something about Adam, then Adam, just kind of introduce yourself.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good afternoon. About 19, 20 years ago, I was approached by one of the school board members in the maintenance department if I knew anybody to be a good man for a job for him. I said, well, I know a guy's graduated high school, and I think he'll make y'all an excellent employee. So I introduced him to Adam, and he's been working there ever since. You know, I've been here over 40 years, and Adam assured me that by December, he'll have 20 years down pat. So we'll see if that happens or not. But, you know, I highly recommended Adam. I think he'll do y'all a great job. And he's a wonderful guy. He's a family member of his wife, and he's got a son. And I just can't say nothing bad about him. I mean, he's just a great guy. And then another plus you got is, he'll have my cell phone number. So if he runs into any problems, I'll help him out.
You might be on the golf course, but you'll help him out.
And I sure appreciate the opportunity to come here from the school system to work for the county. And I know I got some big shoes to fill, but I believe with, you know, the help of Mike and everybody here in the building, I believe I can handle it. And I appreciate the opportunity.
We know you can. We know you've got a good background, and you may have to brush up on finances, because when we give Mike a nickel, he brings back 10 cents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Couple other things, as you know already, we are following the current CDC and the governor's guidelines with regard to masks and social distancing. If you are fully vaccinated, no mask is required within county facilities. If you're not fully vaccinated, a mask is required. No one will be prohibited from wearing a mask, but you don't have to unless you fall into that category. The governor also announced that effective Friday, May the 28th, he will rescind most of the spacing and social distancing requirements that have been in place for seemingly forever. So that means that next month we'll go back to what was our normal approach down here. We'll all be sitting at the dais and we'll be close and comfy down here. So
Amen.
we'll continue to follow that. Item 3, I remind you that next Monday is a holiday for us. It's Memorial Day, so the buildings will be closed. Item 4, remind you of the special meeting with the City of Martinsville tomorrow, 6 o'clock at NCI, to discuss the proposed memorandum of understanding that has been presented. So that will be on your agenda. And then finally, next month, we plan to bring to you a report from staff wrapping up our CARES Act expenditures. Darrell Jones has a lot of reports to file effective June 30, so we'll take that data and kind of give you a presentation of where we spent that month. And that leads into the second tranche of money, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. That's coming down the pike now. We have not applied for our money yet, but we're in the process of doing that. Henry County is expected to receive $9,820,105. We were told initially that there would be fewer strings on this money. As we research it, that does not appear to be the case. But it is heavily suggested that some of this money be used for infrastructure, which would include water and sewer and broadband. You heard the presentation on broadband earlier. That appears to be a clear usage of this money would be to expand water, sewer services, and broadband. So I know Ms. Buchanan's ears just perked up because she has been on us for quite a while to do more in that district, and we will certainly bring that together and consider that. One of the things that's not allowed, which disappoints me, is general economic development spending. We were hopeful to use some of our money, as Mark told you, we need to grade some more at Commonwealth Crossing because of our success. We were hopeful we could throw some money toward that, but from what I've read and what Darrell and Dale have read, it does not look like we can do that. But we will continue to flesh that out. The school board will get its own chunk of money. If I read it correctly, they'll get about $18 million for the school board on their side. And talking with Leon Tornitzky on the city side, the document says that the city will receive about $2.3 million. However, Leon tells me they think that their allocation will be significantly higher than that, because one of the caveats of the funding is that through the work of Senator Kane and Senator Warner, independent cities within Virginia will get extra money. And we are the only state in the Commonwealth that has independent cities. So it is expected that the city's amount will be significantly higher than what's listed, and probably even higher than what we're getting. This is a little different. We can draw down the money in two attempts, one this year, one next year, but we have through December 31, 2024 to obligate and spend the month. So it gives us a little breathing room on how we can approach it. Next month, we'll bring you a report on the CARES Act, and hopefully we'll have more information for you on ARPA. At that point, we'll present that as well. So that's all I have.
Right. Anyone have anything prior to going to closed meeting? If not, I will entertain a motion if someone will cite the reasons allowed by the Code of Virginia to go into closed meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we go into closed meeting under 2.23711A1 for discussion of appointees to the Blue Ridge Regional Library Board, Parks and Recreation Board, Planning Commission, Community Policy and Management Team, Piedmont Regional Community Services Board, and the Southside Community Action Board. 2.23711A7 for discussion of pending legal matters. 2.23711A3 for discussion of acquisition, disposal of real estate, and 2.23711A5 for discussion of as yet unannounced industries.
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor? Board came out of closed meeting on a motion by Mr. Slaughter, second by Mr. Zaire. Mr. Wagner, will you poll the board, please?
Do you certify that in closed session to discuss only public business matters lawfully exempted and identified in the motion to go into closed session? Mr. Zaire?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Martin?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bryant?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Slaughter?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Adams?
Yes, sir. Mr. Slaughter, I believe that you have a district appointment for the Blue Ridge Regional Library Board for the board's consideration.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to reappoint Margaret Caldwell for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2021, and going to June 30th, 2025, and also appoint Sherry Vestal and Louis Turner to the same 4-year term beginning 7/1/21 and ending 6/30/25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. Jennifer. Mr. Zaire, I believe you have some appointments for the board's consideration from Parks and Rec Board.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I move we reappoint Michael L. Smith and Sandra Adams to the Parks and Rec Board for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. Jennifer. Dr. Martin, in regards to the Planning Commission, there is a recommended person to serve on that. If you would enlighten the board.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that Jeff Prilliman be appointed to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term ending June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? And it is 6-0. Jennifer. Mr. Bryant, countywide appointment for the Community Policy and Management Team.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move that we make Stephanie Tucker, Anita Davis Hobbs, and Darrell Jones report them to the Community Policy and Management Team for a period of 2-year term. Expiration date's going to be June 30th, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. Jennifer. Dr. Martin, Piedmont Regional Community Service Board appointment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we reappoint Garrett Dillard to the Piedmont Regional Community Services Board for 3 years ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. Jennifer. Mr. Zaire, Southside Community Action Board.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that we reappoint Alicia Hill to the Southside Community Action Board for a 2-year term expiring June 30th, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. That ends the items that we have for district appointments. Mr. Hall, do you have any other items before we stand in recess?
No, sir.
Board members, do you have any? I have one item for the board's consideration. The Memorial Day holiday is a heavily traveled holiday. We have a number of folks volunteer and help with the issues not only in the community, Memorial Day celebrations, along with what's going on in what would have been Rooster Walk. I'm not sure the name of it this year.
It's something Mo.
Something Mo. I would like the board to consider giving county employees half-day off this Friday as an early out.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor? And that's 6-0, Jennifer.
Mr.
Is that
Chairman.
something that you all can manage, Mr.
I
Hall?
think that'll be well received, yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And
I mean, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
I don't know whether it's appropriate, but Memorial Day service is at 12 noon at Rose Lawn. Would we be able to send out maybe an email just reminding our employees if they want to attend? Just a
Okay.
reminder.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's good suggestion. Thank you. And I'm sure that there are other Memorial Day services. I know Horse Pasture Church does one, and several others, and along with the volunteers in the area that are supporting those. We'll stand in recess then until our 6 p.m. session. Order from our recess. I'd like to welcome all visitors. Remind you, if you want to be placed specifically on the agenda, to address the board, you'll need to contact the county administrator's office at least 7 days in advance of any of our regular meetings to be placed specifically on the agenda. However, in tonight's meeting, we have a item, matters presented by the public, that anyone may address the board. Again, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out and participating in your county government. Concurrent with what's going on here, there is a 6-year secondary road plan, open format, going on in one of the outside meeting rooms on the left. They're taking input as to proposed improvements that can be made. And again, that's on the agenda tonight, but completely separate of this. If, Dale, will you go out and get Lisa? We're going to be ready for her in just a moment, or David, either one, for general highway matters. At this time, we'll go to agenda item 16, matters presented by the public. Is there anyone wishing to address the board under matters presented by the public? I see one hand. Please come to the podium, state your name and the district you live.
Yes, I'm Doug Stigall from Collinsville, and I'd like to thank, I call him Billy White, but it's Bill White, in the other newspapers for doing this article on the Field Recreation Summit. That was great. They needed some pats on the back, as you'd say. But there's other things that the public doesn't know that is going on there that I think they should know. You can't hire people, go out and find people that do such a good job as what they're doing up there at Field Hill right now, especially in the pools. The pools are limited in this area, so they've even got people from Patrick County coming down there wanting to join and fill out applications to join the Field Hill Recreation Summit. I go by there every day and see what's going on. And one name that hasn't been mentioned, he really works hard, and that's Ricky Puck from Field Hill. He's joined in to help them. And you got Andrew Cale and Mike Gilly and Jay Gilbert. Jay Gilbert's an educator, a teacher. He works so good with young people and young adults and the students. And if it's something needs to be done there, they go do it. The pump went out. Instead of paying somebody $1,500 to fix that pump, they went online and figured out how to fix it themselves. And that was great. They fixed the wells, and they filled up the swimming pools with both of the swimming pools with the wells. That saved probably $3,000. And it's just so much going on. They buried a water pipe all the way around the pool to the slide by hand. And these are volunteers doing that. That's tremendous, I think. And I just think everybody needs to know that. Andrew Cale pointed out these two little children. They didn't look 2 feet tall, but they were going around and picking up trash around there. And it's so important to teach children at a young age how important things are. And they're doing it. They're taking Field Hill to the next level. And we really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stigall. Anyone else wishing to address the board under matters presented by the public? Okay, and it goes without saying, volunteer efforts throughout our community, specifically Field Hill and some of the others, that people just pitch in and do it and get it done. It's a good lesson for young and old, and we've seen the same things evident at the Spencer Penn Center. We've seen it in some of the clubs as they are trying to resurge from being pretty much shut down for over a year. So thanks for all those efforts. At this time, agenda item 17 will take up general highway matters. We have with us Lisa Hughes from VDOT. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. As I told you last month, the Virginia Avenue Safety Improvement Project, it was advertised today, so hopefully that'll go along smoothly and get awarded. The fixed completion date is December 15th, so if everything goes as planned, we'll be able to get that done this year.
So they start on it possibly November, December?
No, it would be, that's the completion date, that's the proposed finish date, so May, June, July, probably around the 1st of August, I would say, if the bids come back, reach them like we expect they will. As far as our maintenance, our slurry seal work is finished, but we've got paving coming up next, and we've got a lot of secondary paving work to do, and that's gonna be starting in mid-July. Just to give you the roads that we intend to pave, College Drive, Stoltz Road, Commonwealth Boulevard, Lee Ford Camp Road, and a section of Irisburg Road from Old Liberty down to the bypass. We've got Bassett Heights, Henry Street and Stanley Town, Reeves Road, and Water Plant Road, there by Sheets. So we've got a pretty healthy secondary paving schedule.
Are you?
Looking forward to getting that started and getting that done. And, we're just busy as typical this time of year, but, primary mowing, that'll finish up on the bypass this week and have everything looking good for Memorial Day. And of course, we're working on our secondary mowing and cleanup and pipe and steel patching. So that's all I have.
Miss Hughes, on Stoltz Road, are you paving just parts of Stoltz Road or whole Stoltz Road?
Whole Stoltz Road.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any items for Ms. Hughes?
Oh, quick question. When would that have to start? Possibly.
Mid-July.
Yeah, the contractor's starting in mid-July. He wants to get around the college. He wants to get College Drive while school's out, and probably Lee Ford Camp Road, while Magna Vista's out for the summer. So that's his two focuses, and then I think he'll get around to everything else. That's what he had told us.
Okay, thank you.
Any other items? And Lisa, what's going on in the room beside of us? You guys will be there till 6:30?
We'll be there at 6:30. It's our 6-year plan, our secondary public hearing. As I always say in the past, we've got a limited amount of dollars to do projects every year. But anyway, we've got a list of small-scale projects to do, and I think you've seen that. Next on the list is a pipe at Yates Road that we've needed to get replaced for some time, and we'll be getting to that this year. The next is on Joseph Martin Highway. We want to do some shoulder wedging to be a sort of pedestrian accommodation. Because a lot of people walk that road and they don't have any place to get out of the road. So we're just going to pave a narrow strip to help them out, make sure they get out of the road. Giles Road, we've got a site distance project on 220 on Greensboro Road. We want to do some drainage improvements down across from Drury Mason, and that have been causing issues for a while. We've got an intersection improvement on County Line Road, some wedging on Horse Pasture Road, on Price Road, and then on 108 there by the new school. We want to do some site distance work, so this will carry us through the next several years, but small projects that have great benefit.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Paul, do you have any other items of business that the board needs to consider tonight? Board members, do you have any? Not. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? It's 6.